reason I chose this topic is because I see it everywhere I go. In a way, it has become its own language. In the English language we speak, there are many variations depending on where you live and where you grew up that influence the way you speak it. For example, where I'm from, people like to expand out the last words of their sentences. This is similar to the texting language we see because different regions of the world and even different regions in the country have their own variations of the language.
boards. The fact is that even if you can type easily enough to keep up with the pace of speech, more or less, you have to have somebody who can receive your message quickly. Once you have things in your pocket that can receive that message, then you have the conditions that allow that we can write like we speak. And that's where texting comes in. And so, texting is very loose in its structure. No one thinks about capital letters or punctuation when one texts. But then again, do you think about those things when you talk? No. And so therefore, why would you when you were texting? What texting is, despite the fact that it involves the brute mechanics of something that we call writing, is fingered speech. That's what texting is. Now we can write the way we talk.
After watching the video, Texting is a Killing Language, JK, I heard some very good points made. John McWhorter said that when we speak to each other out loud, we don't think about capital letters or how words are spelled. Why should we do it when we text? Texting is just another way of quickly communicating with someone in a similar manner of talking to that person. I thought what he had to say was very interesting because he views texting as a beneficial act performed by the youth. I agree with him because I don't believe you need to be perfect with everything you say when you text. I would say, however, that in a professional setting, even if it's just texting, you should be clear and punctual with what you're saying. I don't believe texting is harmful because even though people don't practice good writing habits, doesn't mean they're digressing in any way. Writing styles always depend on the situation you're in. So, when writing a letter to an old friend, you may write more casually than when you're writing a cover letter to an employer. When you text, it is casual, so you shouldn't have to worry about errors in spelling, punctuation, grammar. You just simply text. Texting is a tool to get a message to someone quickly who may not be close enough to speak to. Texting can be helpful. Most people don't see it that way because they think it's hurting the English language when people don't text with proper English and use made-up words and acronyms like LOL or JK, many other acronyms that most people who text use every single day. In the video, Texting is a Killing Language, JK, McWhorter made an excellent point by saying that texting has become its own language. So, by that logic, people who text aren't hurting the English language, but instead are helping to build their own unique texting language. The reason this language is so unique is because everyone can use it and have their own version of it. Sometimes even change as small as texting a different person can drastically change the way someone texts.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely.
Texting is good, if nothing else, it helps you practice writing. It's a good way to help you write more often than you usually would. If you didn't normally text, then you would probably view writing as work you had to do um, instead of work you want to do. Most people text because they want to, not because they're being told to. This makes it so people are willing to practice writing on their free time as they develop creative ways of writing. This writing that they do is speech writing, so it gives them a different kind of practice when they would normally get writing an essay. It's beneficial to anybody to practice multiple forms of writing. For example, a basketball player may need to practice his shooting because it can really help him improve, but he should also work on dribbling even though it's more natural. A writer should practice different literary techniques to help improve their English skills. Practice speech writing, even though it's more natural, can help them improve as well. Unlike many others, I believe texting is more beneficial to us than it is harmful. Whether that is always true or not may never be answered. I know many successful people who text every day and use their own form of the texting language, one of which being my father, who is currently pursuing a doctorate in education. I think that people mistakenly link bad texting habits to bad writing habits, when really it should be linked to IQ. People who are not already very great at spelling and grammar probably won't care to check for mistakes when they're writing or when they're texting. By texting often, they actually get practice and eventually won't need autocorrect to fix all their mistakes, making texting a beneficial act in teaching them how to spell harder words.